Hey troops, Roy from Geeks Adventures, woohoo! So today I've got a book review. God, wow, maybe about a couple months ago, I did a review of this giant, beautifully done watercolor book, Call of Cthulhu, the seminal story by H.P. Lovecraft, with art by Francois Berenger. A giant oversized, this is not a coffee table book. This is the giant fine dining, your parents only use it for the holidays for the 87 family members while the kids were eating out on the little card table. That size book. Well, apparently did sold pretty well because I'm doing a review of At the Mountains of Madness. Oh yeah, baby. And now you're thinking, that's kind of a long story. Yes it is. I don't remember exactly when volume 1 was published, but I picked this up and I was like, oh, cool, they're doing it, and flip, and went, wait a minute, where does this end? And then I finally noticed the thing at the bottom that says volume 1. But volume 2 came out last month, yeah! Finally made time to work on this. For those of you, the review, if I remember when I post this, the review for the Call of Cthulhu book will be down in the, the little linky description-y thing in the link below. But yeah, you did 2 volumes. And for those of you familiar with the story, you're going, yeah, it's gonna take 2 volumes. For those who are not familiar with the story, I like to think as I was doing this, it's funny because like a lot of horror story fans, H.P. Lovecraft, Cthulhu fans, you like them, you like Call of Cthulhu done with horror because it's the whole monster, you get into the whole Godzilla thing because, well, monsters in H.P. Lovecraft stories are really messed up. They do not, well, I guess certain ways to interpret Cthulhu is a dude in a giant suit but with bat wings and the whole squid head thing. But, and then you get to Dunwich horror and realize, oh, my brain is about to explode because there are lots of tentacles and other really horrible, awful things. You're doing the Google search, right? You're going, yeah, hentai got nothing on this stuff. But let's try and get this to more PG-13 realms. Anyway, so especially as I've worked on this review and thought more about a lot of the other stories, and as I've read more work, this has become my favorite story. And for those of you who are thinking about it, yes, Guillermo del Toro had his film project. Crossing appendages and tentacles. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna beat that joke to death like sushi. Anyway, sorry, dad jokes. It's early. The caffeine is still trying to kick in my system. Okay. Anyway, the giant monster stories are all fun, yada yada yada. But as times passed, got into more of the stories like this, where the monsters are cute, but at a certain point, yeah, it's one more monster, blah, blah, blah. Stories like this, they're more about this insane, wacky universe that we happen to be a teeny, tiny, insignificant, unimportant part of. In a lot of ways, when I look at this story, I kind of think of you'll see as the review progresses how it's reminiscent of, no, let me rephrase that. John Carpenter's The Thing, and I would imagine the original story, Who Goes There, were strongly influenced by this. Because in some ways, for me, it started to feel like, hey, what if the two characters from John Carpenter's The Thing, Childs and McCready, what if they survived? Managed to get back to civilization, and they were like, we not telling people a whole lot of stuff. We telling them in enough that no one needs to come back here ever again. And what they got to try and do to keep people from coming back, because we as humanity can be stupid about that kind of thing. The story itself, it's very classic horror story in that what could possibly go wrong? The story, okay, volume 1. We were introduced to these two characters, to our like many H.P. Lovecraft stories, which is why they get really kind of creepy, unnerving. It's told in first person. Scientists gone to Antarctica. Yeah, you know why geeks like me and other Lovecraft fans start to giggle and also get kind of nervous when you read those little articles about, hey, we found this thing in Antarctica. This story is why. Okay? It's before Alien versus Predator. And I liked Alien versus Predator. Okay. Anyway, so a bunch of scientists, and the narrator was one of them, went to Antarctica because, well, you did that kind of thing. I mean, it's the vast, unknown, blah, 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 all sorts of weird, funky stuff. So they went. Brought lots of equipment, brought planes, brought tons of stuff. The fun part about the story now, the reason this is in 2 parts, the whole first part is them getting there, them getting set up. And in some ways, it sounds kind of boring because I don't need to know what kind of equipment you packed. I don't need to know you brought 20 million seaplanes, all this radio equipment, da-da-da-da. The point of that kind of detail, though, was to let you know that these guys did not go there with a compass and duct tape, okay? These guys were pretty prepared for most things. They were going to go there to do exploration, scientific discovery, all that kind of cool National Geographic stuff. So they bought tons of junk to be prepared. They were ready to be there for like about 18 months in case of an emergency. I mean, they were smart about it. So they go over there and they start finding stuff. Cool! Then they start, and then one of the group goes out further and further because Antarctica is pretty dang massive, lots of glaciers, blah, 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 blah. Remember, all of the National Geographic stuff. They're keeping tabs via radio, all this kind of, remember, they were equipped. They're flying in, lots of fuel, yada, yada. They were prepared. Until they start finding more stuff. And this is when the whole John Carpenter's a thing and all that stuff starts to kick in. And going, okay, this is kind of weird, but yeah. Remember, National Geographic. Hey, a fish with blood like radiator fluid. Hey, a mysterious lake under a 3-mile deep glacier. Wow, weird. They're going further and further inland. And then it goes from getting weird to samples of creatures and things that really no one's seen before. And then all of a sudden, you get the notorious... Remember, the thing that I've always thought of in horror stories is that it's this parabolic arc. The story starts, normal, pretty normal. And all of a sudden, oh, hell no, too. Oh, yeah, we're all going to die. That's right, we all going to die. That's kind of the way the story progresses. They're finding things that are weird, and then you get the notorious, hey, we found, wow, what's going on? Now you're in Antarctica. Things happen. Storms, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so the last message was kind of weird, but how bad can it be? Pretty horrific, because after waiting a really long time, they realize, okay, something really bad kind of happened. You're wondering when I'm going to show you the book. So, they've got multiple planes. Remember, they brought tons of equipment to deal with as much as they could predict. They fly over. Remember when MacReady and his buddy go to the Norwegian station and go, That's what happens. The camp is wrecked. And at first it's like, the storm did this until they find eviscerated bodies. And until they find the bodies of things that are creatures that no one's ever seen before. And not just, little fossilized, no, bodies. Yeah, and things just go wrong from there. They discover notes. They discover that they kept, remember, multiple planes. One of the guys took a fly out, way out, very, very deep into the continent. And that's when they realized that. You remember the line, the line from Princess Bride, and we always joke about, inconceivable! We do not think I don't think you think that word means what you think it means. Inconceivable on a scale that... You guys are sick and tired of me talking. You want to see what's in the book. Hold on a sec. Alrighty, troops, here we go. So like I said, like every other H.P. Lovecraft story, this is the way it tend to start. That moment of, oh my God, why didn't they pay attention to what I was warning them of? So I gotta tell them again. An academic who just thought, I'm just looking for fossils, man. I did not want to see this thing driving me crazy and all this kind of stuff, man. So anyway, here we go, on their way to Antarctica, and yeah, this is when the really pretty art starts. Oops, let me get rid of the post-it note here. And one of the things I talked a lot about in the Call of Cthulhu book that is further emphasized in this book is scale. It's a wind and steam powered ship, but this is not a tiny schooner. This is a massive ship. And remember what it said about planes? You see this? That's the plane. This ship is big. And then the forces of the universe and nature remind you of, no. This is big. So, there we go. Da-da-da-da-da. I know, things are pretty mellow. You set up camp. There's the plane. One of the boats was going to stay. See, they planned. They had a boat stay in case things went bad. And it still was not enough. There we go. The finding stuff. Hey, we're going to find cooler stuff further in. Yeah, Isn't that the way it works? How bad can it be? And, starting to drill. And, foreshadowing, you've always got these giant, let us use the words, inconceivably massive peaks. Foreshadowing and warning that y'all are walking into terrain that you really don't know what you're running into. And this is when the first messages start coming through that, what'd you say, son? What did you say? There's the boring. And this is when they're first trying to see what's going on. And this is what they find. And remember what I said about the campsite for the Norwegian team and John Carpenter's The Thing? Oop, no, not yet. Let's not do that yet. So here we go. The two guys are like, okay, we need to know what they saw. And again, here we go. The idea of, again, what is inconceivable? What are you heading into? Like I said, one of the things I keep talking about is scale. Especially in sci-fi now, it's the post CGI world. We've seen Minas Tirith. We've seen Godzilla, big Godzilla, that tower in Dubai, whose name I can never remember, the one that was in the Mission Impossible movie, we think we know scale. And then astronomers and cosmologists remind us, you do not understand that word. Think that word means what you think it means. Then H.P. Lovecraft reminded us what scale is. This is the city they find. Remember when I said Minas Tirith? And remember, you see that? That's the plane. That's what those scientists are flying over. Remember when I said Minas Tirith? Imagine if Minas Tirith were the size of Manhattan, or Beijing, or Mexico City. You want to talk inconceivable? This is inconceivable. I remember what I said too about how the stories, what my favorite stories changed into over time. I mean, this is a the story now kind of, remember that parabolic curve I was telling you about? It accelerates because now the sudden realization is umpteenth layers. First, humanity ain't jack in the span of time, which is the universe. Two, humanity's abilities, conceptions of their place in the universe, conceptions of what is, all those philosophical things that you think about if you smoke enough weed and yada, yada, yada. That's what all this is about. And the fact that there are things out there. If memory serves, our species on this planet has been around for about, I don't know, like, was it 200,000 years? I think 250,000 years, something like that. Civilization itself, my apologies, any biologists and anthropologists out there, please feel free in the comments, get my numbers much more accurate. But you get the idea. This isn't, we're talking past million. We're talking past 100,000. This is millions of years. This is like maybe, I don't know, 200 million. That's what we're talking about. You're talking about beings who just kind of look at us. It's that cliche, the way we look at an ant, that's what these things look at us and go, oh, they're trying to talk. Oh, how cute. Let me pinch those cheeks, you stupid creatures that I don't know what they're saying. Oh, they bleed. All right. Toss. Scale. Remember scale. Remember, Minas Tirith. To be frank, Minas Tirith is nothing compared to what this city is. And so they explore. Oh yeah, that's right. I almost forgot. This is volume 1. So they're flying over the city and trying not to lose their minds as they realize, so what's in the city? Hold on a sec. Volume 2. So right now our two guys have landed. And it's that moment of wonder, like, wow, this is so cool. Because you're scientists and, you're finding stuff and going, wow, this is so cool. There is that more primal part of you going, We need to run away. What are you doing? But of course, you know, there's no story if you do that. So, hey. So they keep digging and digging and finally they start to piece things together. Now, the timeline that is given is that, you know, they're exploring this place over the course of, I could have sworn it was 16 hours, which, no. Because as they're talking, as the story progresses, they're talking about, oh, well, we started to decipher what these things meant, and you know what? I don't care that these beings are using hieroglyphs, cryptograms, if they're using PowerPoint, okay? You gonna take more than 16 hours to figure out what squid-headed flying things are trying to tell you. But they figured it out for the story, so, you know, we'll take that at face value. So, what did this race of beings say and do? A lot. They were powerful. They were massive. They like chilling underwater, hence the reason. So, hey, also influences to Aquaman. And again, inconceivable. They built this stuff. But of course, you cannot have nice things, and this is where a little bit of Cthulhu pops in. These now, in this book, oh shoot, they're called the Old Ones, the flying, you know, star-headed guys. Later on, they are called the Elder Things, and from their, you know, their connections within the Cthulhu mythology, and it goes kind of whatever. But of course, somebody's got to show up to ruin things. In this case, Cthulhu and the Starspawn. And there is a war! Pew, 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 pew! And insert your John Williams soundtrack here. But eventually, they actually do have a truce. Things stop. But like all things in the universe, you know, it's never that simple. They start to dig further and further, learning more and more about this vast race of beings. The immense civilization they created, and how, you know, they kind of traveled everywhere. Oh, one of the other beings they had a war with were the Migo from Pluto, cause hey, you know. But again, that war ended. But you know, things are never that simple. Do I have a picture of one of those back here? No, okay. Well, unfortunately, you know, when you're trying to build a civilization, you always have help. And this is one of the things, though. Why would a civilization disappear when you can build stuff like this? Which is what they discover as they dig further and further. They went underground. And took their amazing architecture, science, alchemy, whatever you want to call it. And what was helping them were the Shoggoths this entire time. These giant tentacle beings, yada, yada, yada. There was a rebellion. We're going to leave the obvious parallels alone on that. Still, the question remained, what happened? After all this time, your race of beings that powerful, what happened? I'm showing you this picture because one of the things that's always associated with this story is the legendary albino penguins. Creatures created by them, yada, yada, yada. Now, you would think an albino penguin, how spooky can a giant albino penguin be? Come on, it's a penguin. We've seen those cute pictures, right? That's what they look like. Yeah, that would scare the crap out of me, too. But the question remains, what caused them to run? doing it? Our heroes escape. No, I'm leaving some stuff alone because, well, I want to leave some things alone for you to read. And as they escape out of pure terror. Oh, yeah, one of the things that actually is mentioned in, as they're deciphering all this stuff is the Elder Ones were going, there's some stuff out there that ain't right. Now, keep in mind, these are beings that have fought giant, Godzilla Cthulhu thing and, got a draw. They fought the flying things from Pluto. They survived. But this scared them. So they, being smart, they finally go, you know what, we getting on plane. We getting the heck out of Dodge. But of course, you cannot escape without being scarred. A closing reminder as they escaped and headed back to civilization. That, remember the word inconceivable? Yeah, you ain't seen nothing yet. There you go. Wow. It's kind of fun going through this review too, because I'm reminded of the scope, the majesty, the utter what the hell nature of the story is. And like I mentioned before, Guillermo del Toro is still trying to get his version of it done. And you're going, wait a minute, didn't he? Yeah. Rewind, who knows how long ago. He and Tom Cruise were ready and actually it came to being done. Tom Cruise was going to be the protagonist. I forget what studio was going to bankroll this thing until Guillermo mentioned the price tag of filming it. The thing to remember with horror movies is that they can be done cheap. So, if you make 50 back in the day, if you made $50 million from your horror film, well, your investment was $4. So, Guillermo wanted closer to 150 apparently, to which studio went gun shy. They went, no, we can't, not for this. But he was interviewed. I'm sorry, I don't remember which article it was, but he was doing an interview and he mentioned that he's still got something. He's still thinking of bringing it to streaming. And hint to Netflix, to Amazon, HBO. Hey, ooh, Lovecraft Country. Just saying. All right. It's a one-shot movie, man. You don't need to get Tom Cruise, but I mean, this is the kind of, funky, off-the-wall thing that, to be frank, in the post-COVID movie theater environment, it's unpredictable how people are going to react to it. But streaming? Red Notice, small tangent, which I liked. It wasn't great. Sorry, guys, it wasn't. But it was fun. Imagine you put this out there? Just saying. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm getting, really distracted. Sorry. Like I said, caffeine. Anyway, so there you go. Some of you who prefer the purely text-driven are not going to want to get this, because this is basically the story all over again. So, well, what's the point? Yada, yada, yada. I love both books. Now, the problem is that it is 2. Now, both are beautiful, no question, but volume 1 is the prep and as you saw, I mean, it was beautifully done, but, it's all the precursor to the part, which is the really, really badass cool part. Pardon me. I'm glad I got both of them. Because the first volume does a great job of setting up everything. The foreshadowing, the scale, And, you know, the fact that, yeah, you know, you're going into this, and you hear all the cliches about how Antarctica is the last wilderness on the planet, which, depending on who you want to talk to. But anyway, you get the idea. And then these guys walk into Freddy Krueger's nightmare while on acid. The art's beautiful. The art's a reminder of, like I said, you know, as much as I've been joking about it, inconceivable. The scale and scope is massive, which is what makes the story so magnificent. Yes, Call of Cthulhu, Dome Chart, you know, they're a lot of fun. You know, the whole, like I said, the whole Godzilla rah thing. It's a lot of fun to read, no question. This is the kind of far-reaching stuff that makes your head kind of explode a little bit. And every time you hear about, you know, finding weird stuff on Europa or Io, you know, you're of two minds. One is Arthur C. Clarke, because 2001, duh. But part of you is also going, but what if it's something else? You know. So yeah, if you do have a Lovecraft fan who wants something different, or you just love beautiful horror art, yada, yada, yada. There's still decent number of shopping days before Christmas, all right, folks? Seriously, if you do, grab them. So there you go. I'm going to stop now because, you know, it's the weekend stuff to get done, yada, yada. But anyway, y'all take care. May the force be with you. May the odds be in your favor, especially when you run into giant albino penguins. Y'all take care. Have a good holiday, and most importantly, be good to each other, folks. And to my peeps, and not just my peeps, folks in Kentucky, peace. You know, if you can't help, yada yada. You get the idea. Y'all take care. Everybody, take care. All right. Peace. Bye.